podcast.
Now, I'll go back to Ayush's fear. She always has this fear. And I have taken...
Trying to teach you that. Not go there.
I've spoken with her and she's okay if I take care of this.
She has to take care of it.
Okay, Ayushi, please go ahead.
But before that, I have a question which I want an answer for. Seeing the recent times, sir, we spend all our life building homes, earning, buying all expensive things. But when we see recent times during this pandemic, life is getting more unpredictable. You know, this second you're talking to someone else and the next second you're no more. So, I want to know that what kind of thing that we are going through is that why do we have to, we keep building our lives and then on the other side, life is totally unpredictable. Death is just on our heads. So how do you explain it?
It has always been.
Now it is getting more, sir.
No, it's just that you are more aware of it.
Maybe.
It's always been that way. Just we are more aware of it now. Because it's a little bit closer to home, right? Earlier, maybe some old people used to die, say, once in few years. Now, every month you hear someone is gone.
Every day, in fact.
Every second. Maybe.
That is, I'm speaking about personally people you know, right? So, something happening somewhere else doesn't affect us so much as something happening close to home. Right? So in that sense, if you see, life has always been unpredictable and we have to deal with it. In the sense that, what is your emotion when you realize that life is unpredictable and death can happen anytime?
I want to enjoy every second of my life.
So it's a good thing, right?
I want to make every second count.
Right.
I want to live to the fullest. When I just think about that, death can happen at any moment.
Then why are you sad about it?
I just want to know that why is it so that, life is getting more unpredictable?
So that you will make every second count. You will value it.
The good pain.
But my question is, really check. Is that all?
Maybe.
So I remember one story about it. So there was a professor or teacher, something like that. He had, he had drawn a black dot on a paper probably, and he asked his students that, what do you see? Everybody was focused on that black dot, and the rest of the people, the rest of the space, nobody cared about it. And then he was very sad about it. And he said there's a lot apart from these problems also. The white space was there, right? The white paper is full. Right. Why are you focused on that black dot? So my point is, why do we focus on that dot?
Because it's very attractive and painful. Two things. If it is painful, you can't ignore it. And if it's attractive, you can't ignore it. Okay. And it's both. But wisdom says that yes, there is a lot of white space. If you are able to focus on that, you'll get something done. Until then, you'll keep suffering. So this is where the personal choice, whether I want to suffer or whether I want to look at the rest of the space and see life beyond and enjoy and make it count, is a choice that I have to make.
So now, looking at the present situation which is going on through Palestine, other countries are bombarding on them, children are getting abducted, women are getting raped, many of the children, they are getting orphaned. So what kind of negativity or what kind of thing that these kind of people have in them that, they are so emotionless that without any thought or without any emotion, they are just,
They are too full of emotion.
In which sense?
See, if you have to be careless about things, you have to be very emotional. Unless you are having a raging anger, you can't be careless. So this violence, in the sense, basically you're asking about violence.
Yes, exactly.
In the context of, say, terrorism and war sort of situation. Every party feels that they are right. Both have the same disease. That's called self-righteousness. And that disease is the biggest disease. The moment I feel self-righteous, I feel justified of making anything Sometimes it might be the only solution. There is no other solution also. But that's how things are. In Indian context, the people who are, the society is classified into 3 or 4 categories. So one category was supposed to be spiritual, evolved, who understand and direct the rest of the society. Then the next category were a warrior class, who under guidance of spiritual people protected the society. Even after the spirituality, we had that protection.
Defense is required.
Defense is required. Because just because we are spiritually evolved doesn't mean that the whole world is evolved. Someone else who is very warrior-like without any spiritual guidance might attack.
Correct.
And if you don't have defenses, whose mistake is that?
Very true.
Right? So violence and humanity have always been. It's nothing new. And large-scale violence, the bigger the society grows, bigger the violence. What can we do about it is a question. So one thing is awareness, that there are better ways to live than that overwhelming anger, overwhelming sense of disappointment. That's where everything starts. So if we can spread compassion like virus, if you can find a way, that goes into every mind and
Coronavirus.
Yeah.
then probably the world can change faster.
You being a spiritual scientist, do you think it's possible to create such a virus? Spiritual virus rather?
I have not yet come across it.
Would wish to in future.
And I would love to support that.
Definitely we'll try.
Really amazing answers.
One more thing that, generally my friends tell it to me. Whenever I ask them to meditate, they get certain thoughts which they have never come across in life. But when they sit in the meditation position with eyes closed and, concentrating on the breath, they get certain questions which they have never ever come across. So why is it so? How can they deal it with it, or how can they?
That is the whole point of meditation, right?
Yeah, that's there.
Getting in touch with the inner wisdom.
Yeah. But at certain level, it's triggering more to them.
So that's the whole point, that when we are practicing meditation, it is done for 2 reasons. One is raising our energies. Like very specific meditations actually raise our energies. Then the other aspect of it is introspection. So if you want to raise energy beyond certain limit, if there are certain triggers that need to be addressed with, beyond which you can't raise, then those triggers will happen at that point. That is the whole spiritual growth. And at that point, we have to go into introspection. The energy is there, use that energy to go into introspection to really understand and address those triggers. And if we don't address those triggers, they'll keep on festering. It will stop your spiritual progress at that level unless you address that. And some things, like if the person is not on a spiritual path, just practicing meditation, and they get all these questions, whether they like it or not, they are on spiritual path then. So the process has started. So it will kick them in right direction. So they have to move in the right direction. So it has both introspection and energy rise, both together, and addressing the issues that we are facing. All are required. So the questions are natural, not only questions, but our fears come up at that time.
And it's quite disturbing also for them.
If they are not prepared, if they don't have that support, it can be.
What if their approach is not in the right direction, and all these thoughts, they get up so messed up that it takes them to another path?
So they are actually practicing the wrong kind of meditation.
Might be.
So for every personality, different kinds of meditations are there. So they have to explore different meditations and find something more suitable for them. Or they actually take some guidance from someone who has experience in dealing with these questions or those fears. And that's why having a guru is very important, because that person knows what these people are going through and can guide them. So that's why we have the concept of guru.
Ayushi, you were talking about your fear. I'm again and again raising that question. That's still unanswered.
For you or
For her.
no? I think it's for you.
Because I care for her.
Idris is just being at that question. Seems like he's being more fearful or something like
Absolutely,
that.
I'm very focused on that now.
It's actually triggering him.
Yeah, right. Generally, we are right now in a conversation, with the questions that youth wants us to ask to you. So, with these tough times, again, they are into depression kind of thing. They are into very suicidal thoughts, They exactly don't know in which path they are going. Their mind is full of negativity. And they write it to us saying that, whenever they sit in meditation is also not helping them. At one moment, it's helping them. Their mind gets calm. And the other second, they're again into those negative thoughts. So how do they deal with it, or how do they come out of it?
Again, the same thing. The meditation which is taught has a context. It is helpful in certain environment, like the Anapana, when it is done at a meditation center under a pyramid in the proper conditions, it's helpful, right? But casually, if I'm walking around and doing Anapana, maybe for a person who has really practiced a lot, it becomes easier. But someone new, if he tries to do it there casually, it doesn't work. Again, what is casual is not just about walking or sitting or not doing. It depends upon the person's challenges, their own karmic energy, and what is triggering them. And if you have the right place where a lot of people practice meditation, there is usually a lot of positive energy there that supports. When they try to practice in the COVID times, instead of going to such places, because not too many people can go because of restrictions, if then they try to practice at home, it becomes difficult. So these challenges are real. But normally I would have recommended to go there and practice. Like I have one client who needs to practice deep meditations to address certain issues. And earlier they used to go to a temple. Now they come to my house, stay for a couple of days, practice in my puja room and go. Okay? So because certain meditations, certain amount of challenges need certain amount of conditions. So again, proper guru who will be able to guide them personally, that this is what you need to do in these conditions, this is how you deal with it. That guidance is not optional. So what happens is, otherwise there will be less of these problems, but these problems will still there. So the amount of guidance, the proper guidance that they needs to be given. So they need to have a meditation teacher or a guru who might not be very greatly evolved, but just enough that they have gone through the same thing and they have evolved to the next level. That's enough. But having that guidance is essential.
Lastly, one thing I want to ask. I have often heard people getting healed with cancer, with many big diseases. So is it really that meditation helps them cure all of these diseases?
Let me ask you. I've heard that food prevents death. Is that true?
At certain extent.
Same way. If you don't take food, you are definitely going to die.
Yeah, right.
Right? So when a person is faced with such life-threatening diseases, either they change or they die. And the change can be in many forms. Sometimes it's about meditation, sometimes it's about some other process. But sometimes it's about its introspection. It's a life-changing moment for them. If they have survived, it means that somewhere that shift has happened enough inside.
Right.
That they have learned enough. And they have grown spiritually enough. So The person who actually practiced meditation, has this or learned meditation at the time and it has helped them, will definitely ascribe it to that. And meditation is a very powerful tool. So to that extent, it helps.
So here one question arises, what happens when we meditate?
What happens when you meditate?
What changes,
That's what I'm asking. What happened when you meditate?
I felt good in a way, but how it works actually, scientifically I would say.
There are too many concepts available, or this scientific processes, explanations, but very simple. If I have to very simplify it something, meditation is nothing but focus and connection. Concentration is focus. What are you concentrating on? What are you being aware of? That is awareness. So your object of awareness is important. That will make the energy flow in that direction. Like in Anapana, it's breath. Breath means prana. Our awareness is also prana, in a sense. So wherever your awareness is, there your prana flows. Being aware of prana, prana flows into prana. Right? So if I have a knee pain and I'm making prana flow into prana, will it help? Do you understand my question?
I got your point, yes.
So the point is, when they have a knee pain, prana is required in the knee. So at that time, we make prana flow to the knee. And when it's resolved, prana flows back into prana and starts developing itself. Whether we like it or not, this happens.
Exactly.
Right.
It happens naturally. But because we sit with an intent. So the process is only simple, two things. Where are we making our prana flow? So in case of cancer, that cancer has a set of karmic energy, that has a set of belief system and everything behind it. And when prana flows there, it resolves there.
Beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot more to discuss, but I think time won't allow us today. But I would really love to see you in our upcoming episodes. We'll further discuss it. I have a lot more questions in my mind, which we are going to ask, and of course we'll talk about fear of Ayushi too.
So you're scared of Ayushi then?
Not
Might
scared, I
be.
care for her. I can use this word.
I get
You said fear of Ayushi.
Yeah. Ayushi's fear, rather. Let me put my words right.
Right.
Ayushi's fear.
right.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
It was really nice having you on this show, and I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Please join us again, and we'll discuss more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, that was our today's show. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and share this video.